You got it? You're with me? 53. Last concept. Percentile ranking. The word kind of, the second part says it all. It's all about ranking. It's comparing your score, your test score, your weight, your income against others. Okay? That's what it is all about. The term percentile is the same base as the term percent or percentage. Okay? Here is the first important statement. Percentiles are used to organize sets of data so you can see how one value compares to the other values in the data set. Okay? And here is the other important statement. 53, right? A percentile rank indicates that the percentage of values of a given data are lower than the given number. Example, if a number is said to be in the 60th percentile, what does that mean? If I said 60th percentile, well, here it is. Actually not that complicated. If it's 60th, then it means that 60% of the numbers in the set are below the given number. And here's some alternate notations that I need you to add. Okay? So P60 is 60th percentile. Keep writing these down. Sometimes it's PR60. Sometimes it's 60 PR. And I'm not too worried that this is going to actually show up. Like usually the province just says it like this, 60th percentile. But if any of these show up, it means the exact same thing. Okay? So you just know, oh yeah, that's percentile. We're in the percentile section that is specific to statistics. Here's one more time, a different way of saying it. A percentile rank indicates where a value stands with respect to the other values in the data set. Here's the formula. This formula is actually on your formula sheet, but I would say add this to your study sheet because it doesn't take up that much space. Where B represents the number of values less than. N represents the number of total values. So actually you should have this whole thing, because otherwise you won't know what B. It's very important that you know what B and N represent. Specifically B. Specifically B. And here's the big one. I don't know if I had a different color yet. I would make sure you, since PR is a rank, we use whole numbers. We use whole numbers. We do not use percentage. That is very important. If you use percentage, you're automatically going to lose half a mark for sure. If not, I think sometimes, depending on the exam, they take off a whole mark because you don't understand that this is percentile rank. I think it's a whole mark, folks, that you lose. Lose a whole mark if you do that. So you're better off actually not putting any units down than to put percentage down. Okay. Get rid of this this one right here. I don't want to confuse you with this one. You don't need that part. But right here, You can obviously tell this is the height, right? Let's say you have a bunch of people with their heights, and you are right here. This is you. How many are there? Like if you had to figure out B and N, what would you say for these two numbers? Let's do N because that one is the easiest. How many people are involved here? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 people. This is the one students have the hardest part with. I don't know why. B is the number of people, in this case, that are shorter than you. How many people would be shorter than you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Thank you for whispering 16. 16 people are shorter. And keep in mind, down the road, these are going to be numbers. They're going to be a bunch of numbers with the heights. Okay? So just make sure you understand that. So we're going to now figure out the percentile rank here. Bring this up. 16 divided by 20 times 100. 16 divided by 20. So you grab your calculator. I should have picked a different number because this is a nice round number anyways. If you multiply that by 100, you get 80 exactly. So it's the 80th percentile rank. Not 80%, 80th. But let me tell you some good news. If you're not sure what to put that, is it TH, is it 72nd, is it 73rd? Just leave that. There, you don't lose any marks for not having that. But that would be the proper way of answering that question. A height of whatever this person's height is would place you in the 80th percentile, which means, this is the meaning of it, just like median, you calculate it, but there's a meaning for it. It means that 80% of people are shorter than you in this case, okay? Meaning, 80th percentile means that, in this case, 80% of people are shorter than you. This is the meaning. I think that's very important. But notice this. Do we know the height of you in this case? We don't. But we know that if you're in the 80th percentile in terms of your height, you know that you're on the taller end, wouldn't you agree? Because most people are shorter than you. But you have no idea what your actual height is in this case. Okay? So keep that in mind. Your actual score is not necessarily given by the percentile rank. It just ranks you compared to everybody else. If your percentile rank, listen to this part, what if it would be 20th? If your percentile, if you do your height and you're in the 20th percentile, you're probably somewhere down here where only 20% of people are shorter than you. So you gotta kind of think about it that way. It's comparing you to the rest. It's not actually saying how tall you are, okay? Because your height could put you, if you go to a kindergarten class, your height could be putting you in the 99th percentile because you're taller than everybody, all the kindergartners, right? But then you go to a basketball team, NBA team, all of a sudden you'll be like one of the shortest people on that team, right? So your percentile rank can change depending on where you put yourself in, okay? And you're now saying, stop talking, it's hurting my brain, right? So just to reiterate, percentile, it's a number from 1 to 99, okay? You cannot be in the 100th percentile. Because, well, because then you would say that all of the values are shorter than you, but it can't be. You're part of it. You're part of the set. So the highest you can ever go is 99. Okay? All right. One more time here. What color haven't you used yet? I haven't used green at the bottom here. Percentile does not tell you your actual score, but only how the score compares to the rest. There you have it, one more time. We're going to go and calculate things right away. I'm going to skip 54 for now. We're going to go calculate some percentile ranks. Come with me to page 55. This is where it's at. Okay, this is going to be most of the time what you're going to be presented with. 55, right? The players on the senior boys' volleyball team have the following heights. And here they are. Do you notice that they're not arranged? Sometimes they're arranged, sometimes they're not. When they're arranged, it's a lot easier to find your the number of heights that are lower. But anyways, calculate the percentile rank. You should recognize that. You should from now on be like, oh yeah, I can calculate that. I have a formula for it. Of the players with the following heights. Explain what your answers represent. So this is the value. This is the value we're finding the percentile rank for. How many are shorter than the value? How many players are shorter than 172? Let's go figure it out. So I'm going to put a dot in shorter, right? 1, not shorter. This one is shorter. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So far I have 6 players shorter. Is that correct? I think we're good. 6 players shorter than 172. I'm overdoing it because this is the one that most students get wrong. You just need to figure out, okay, so 172 is it. How many are less than that? How many are shorter in this case? What's the total number of players here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Now we can do a percentile rank. So you go 6. I don't like that they're all nice and easy numbers right now. They won't always be. 6 divided by 12 times 100. And you're going to go 50% because Mr. Dirksen always told me when I multiply by 100, it is percent. Except for this one. So I lied. This is the only exception. So you leave it 50 or you go 50th. Okay? But I always chuckle because sometimes it ends up being 53rd. So, yeah, I know. I see that. So I don't care. You won't lose marks when that happens. Okay, so just either leave it. That's what it is. So what does that mean? What does this answer mean? 50% of players are shorter than what? It usually is sometimes it's a name, but in this case, all we have is the actual height. They're shorter than this. That's what that means. So the percentile rank is mostly concerned with shorter or less, lower, right? You can also say a height of 172, right, means that you're taller than 50% of the people. I don't have that in my notes, but, or you are taller than 50% of players. You can also say you're taller than, 50% of players right now, that would also be very appropriate. Can you try B? Try B. If this is now the value, forget about 172. Figure out B, figure out N. N is already given, by the way. All you have to do is B, really. And figure that out. And then we'll do a couple more. I'll just do some random questions here. So pause. So in this case, there are 11 players shorter than 190, and we still have 12 in total. So PR is 11 over 12 times 100. Right? So 11 divided by 12. Oh yeah, this is where we get into that issue. Okay? So percentile rank, you can't be in between, like you can't have decimals because you're ranking yourself. So you have a choice. You can say 91st or 92nd. You have a choice to make. Normally you would round up, no matter what, because even if you're just a little bit above the 91 mark, you are technically already above everybody below 92, right? So this would be the preferred, okay? But no decimals, okay? No decimals. Just do a whole number, either round down or up. Both will be giving you 100%. Okay. Could a player be in the 100th percentile? Okay. Nope. As that would indicate, write this down, that all players, including you, are shorter, so including you, are shorter. This cannot be the case. You are part of the set. And if you're saying, hey, my height is this, and you say, well, I'm in the 100th percentile, you're saying everybody, including me, is shorter than myself. And you cannot say that. It's a contradiction. Can I ask you to do one more? This one I find, can you add this, please? I don't know where else to put this. If your test score puts you in the 99th percentile, did you pass the test? If your score puts you in the 99th percentile, does that mean that you passed the test? Not necessarily. Here's an example. Not necessarily. Example. You can just give an example if you're not sure. Let's do this. Like, these are the test scores. I'm arranging them. Makes it easier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. what would be this could be you. You could have had a test score of 45%, but still be in the PR 99. Okay, that's 9 out of 10, right? So that's 90. Can we change this? Instead of 99th percentile, just the 90th. Just, I don't want to give you 100 values and you have to write down, right? Like, it'd be just too much. 90th percentile. So what's the PR in this case of your score? How many students scored less than you? 9, right? Out of 10 times 100. That's the 90th percentile. But you failed. So what does the 90th have to do? What does it tell you? Compared to everybody else, you did really good. You're actually the top, right? Compared to everybody else, you did really good. But it doesn't necessarily guarantee you a high score on the test. You know what I mean? That's what percentile rank is all about. Fun stuff, right? Come with me to 56. I want you to practice a bit more. Okay, these are the, okay, full disclosure. These things that I'm talking about here, they don't show up very often. But every once in a while they throw in a curveball there to make sure, do you understand what you're doing? Right?
When it comes to rounding, when it comes to people, does it, like, isn't it supposed to be 91, not 92? Like, if it's rounding.
Right. Here, you mean?
Yeah.
So I would always suggest you go up no matter what, but the province would accept both as long as you don't keep it as a decimal. Don't put a percentage on there, don't put decimals on there for percentile rank. So tell yourself that on the formula, right? Make sure you have only whole numbers, no decimals, and do not use percentage. Have that next to this, because I can guarantee you will forget. On the exam, you will forget that because their formula is just this. They don't have these notes next to it. So that's why I want you to add it to your study sheet like that. Okay. Okay, let's keep going. I know you're tired. I know that. And this isn't fun. But can I ask you to try this one right here on page 56, this one? Using the following information about a class of chemistry test results, determine the percentile rank for a student who achieved a 72%. Yeah. No, you just, if I ask you for percentile rank of, in this case, 72, you need to figure out the scores below 72 and the total scores. That's all you need. And then plug it into a formula and figure out what it is. Don't have percentages, don't have decimals. So go to town, and then try the one right underneath it as well, which to be honest, that one is easier than the one you're doing right now. But do both, please, okay? I don't care if you get it wrong right now. It's part of learning. If you get it wrong, we'll figure it out, okay? So give it a try. Shouldn't take you too long. Okay. So numbers less than, this is already arranged, correct? Did you notice that? It goes arranged like this, increases slowly. So 72 puts me right here. Watch this, there's a bunch of 72s that might throw you off. Don't worry about them. You just want all the values that are lower than that, right? That's B right there. And so what do you get there? 18. 18 scores lower than 72. Okay, and total we have 32, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 4. That's 32 scores. So PR is simply 18 divided by 32 times 100. And that gives you 56.25. Don't leave it like that. 57th is the percentile. Okay, 57th is the percentile rank. or 56th. That's fine. Whatever you did, whole number, please. Is that a pretty good score compared to everybody else? It's about midway, right? 57% of scores are less than 72, so it's not super great. It's also not super bad. It's kind of like right in between compared to everybody else. You might be happy with a 72%, right? But compared to everybody else, it's kind of like mid-range there. What about this one? Khadisha recently ran in a marathon with 350 competitors, including herself. Okay, so that obviously is important, right? She's part of the set. So that's your total. That is N, by the way. 313 people finished slower than her, right? That is B, right there. What's the percentile rank? So you didn't need to count. You don't need to do any of that. You just need to plug in, right? 313 divided by 350 times 100. And that is 89.42, and that keeps going. So you can say 89th or the 90th, right? Because right after 89 you have 90th. So either one is fine. So what does that mean? If I use 90th, 90% of competitors were slower than, in this case we actually have the name, right? Khadisha. You can say it that way, or Khadisha was faster than 90% of competitors. Either one is fine. Just understand, right? I would honestly tend to go with this one. I would tend to go with this one. But if the province ever does this, so-and-so has a percentile rank of 90th, which one of the following statements is correct? They may do one of these to you where they kind of rewrite it, right? So that's why I'm trying to get you to think of it from different angles, okay? Last but not least, we're going to go just up here on this one. This is a classic one, actually, on the exams as well. By classic, I mean it shows up fairly often. Okay, so watch this. Thomas scored 29.5 out of 40 on his test. He knows that out of the class of 35 students, he scored higher than 18 students. State Thomas's score on his test as a percentage. So they want you to mix this up. They want you to mix up his score with percentile rank. Or they want to know, do you know the difference? For this part right here, all you would do is take your test score, divide it, and multiply it by 100. That's what I do for you every single time I mark a test. I just take the score, divide it by 40 in this case, multiply that by 100. And so that's 73.75%. No problems there. You can actually do percentage. This is actual score. Okay. Actual score there. But as soon as you see what percentile or percentile rank does Thomas's test place him compared to the class, you know you have to use this formula. And again, B, N. What's our N again? We have how many students in this class? 35. And B, he scored higher than 18. He scored higher than 18. That means 18 are below. Scored less, right? Scored below Thomas. In this case, we actually know his score, right? So he did pass. But let's see here. This would be 18 divided by 35 times 100. That gets you in the 51.42 something. And you can just go arrow, and it's 52nd. Okay? Whole number. No percent symbol. One more time. Okay? This is on the side the whole time. So is this score, is it 73%? Is that doing pretty good in this class? It's actually close to the median, folks. The median is 50th. That's 50% below and potentially 50% above you. Okay. All right. I'm just going to say this. If you want to practice this, I'll send you all the way to 58. So 57, page 57 to 58 has this type of scenarios where you do percentile rank. I just want to do one more thing so that it's on the lesson, so you can't say I didn't talk about it. Let's go to 54. The following shows the average amount of sleep students between the ages of 15 and 18 are getting per night. So watch this. At the top, you have the hours of sleep. And not every, but a lot of these values have a percentile rank associated with it. So I hope you know how to read these. Okay, watch this. A sleeping hours of 5, if you were to sleep 5 hours per night, that places you in the 75th percentile. What does that mean? That 75% of students sleep less than 5 hours. It's kind of scary. I got this out of, I don't know, some kind of survey that was done. So anyways, 5 hours puts you at 75, 4 hours at 50, and so forth. So that's what this is saying. Okay. By the way, between 50th and 75th, right? What percentage would be right in between here, you think? 25%. 25% is in between, because watch this. If you take away 50 from 75, if you take that away, you're left with 25%. So this chart tells you also what's in between, the percentage in between. That's the unique part about it, okay? Let's answer quickly. What percentage of students get less than 3 hours of sleep? 3 hours puts you right here, correct? So 3 hours places you in the 40th percentile. Therefore, you would say 40% of students. Boom. You answered just like that. What percentage of students get between 5 and 6 hours of sleep? Between, we never did that. We only did below, right? Well, thanks to this chart, you can do both. Between 5 and 6 hours, that's this chunk right here. What percentage goes in here, folks? I'm just going to go 90 minus 75. So you take away the 90, that goes on this edge. Take away the 75, right? All of these ones here, and you're left with 15%. So you can now say, you can answer this question, 15% of students. Okay, so that's the beauty of a chart like this, is that you can do in between as well. What percentage of students get less than 4 hours of sleep? What name do we give this value? Where's 4 hours of sleep? Right here. It's 50th. So 4 hours places you in the 50th percentile. So 50% of students. The name we give this, when 50% is below you and 50 above you, what do we call that? It's right here. Median. How many hours of sleep does a student in the 80th percentile get? How can this be determined? This cannot be determined. Cannot be determined based on the info provided. So there have been instances where the province has asked that. Oh, you can't see that, sorry. Sorry. There. This cannot be determined based on the info provided. We just don't know. Could be a guess. So 56 to 58, and if you're venturing past it, it says trickier questions. I won't have the trickier questions on the quiz. So we'll practice those on Thursday. Or maybe I'll ask you to watch a short video after the quiz. So once you're done your quiz, you can probably do that in class even.